broadcast channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.
Call, Parks and Rec.
Definitive.
Karen Pryor, American Indigenous Museum.
Renee Allen, Daughters of the American Revolution.
Jonathan Ring, member at large or something, I don't know.
Mayor of
No.
downtown. Picker up sticks,
Yes.
coffee man, whatever you want to call it.
Trash.
Racial unity.
Trash. I am on 5 boards. Yeah.
I'm Emily Heath. I'm the pastor of the Congregational Church.
I'm Barbara Rimkunas from the Exeter Historical Society.
Excellent. So we have minutes that I don't know if did everybody get to see the minutes?
Mm-hmm.
So were there any changes or anything? I think, yes.
I want to correct Caroline's name in the spelling.
Oh, yeah.
Officially.
Yeah. Caroline.
Oh.
Pretty.
And
EE for Neil?
Yes.
They're the same? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So do I hear a
And
motion
I'm Jonathan Ring, not on,
And,
T-H-A-N.
yeah, I went back and forth
Thank you.
and I just guessed.
Yep, thank you.
Okay.
All right.
And Emily, are you M?
It's just a nickname. Emily's fine
Okay,
for more formal.
sure. Got it.
Okay, so do you guys all approve of the
Oh, yeah, motion to approve the
Thank
minutes
you.
as written with the minor corrections.
second? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Okay, now that we do that, then, so we kind of saved this meeting for logo, budget, any updates, and we could sort of revisit the calendar if there was specific things that people wanted to do. Let's do the logo first.
That'll take about 3 minutes. So I've spoken with Kristen Grollo at SST. It's Christine actually, Kristine, Grollo, Groleau. Groleau. At SST, and she is the digital marketing specialist there. I had spoken to her before the kids had spring break, and she really loved the idea, and I followed up with her right after spring break, and she says, I'm really glad you called me because I forgot all about it. They're literally redoing the logo for the SAU, they're doing a lot, but they really want to do this. So I think where it's going to land, and I need to follow up with her again, she said, give me a week, is that if they can come up with maybe a rough draft, something that we can use now for the summer, it will be the same thing, but then they can
Tweak it.
Exactly right. So, I can email, I'm going to be following up with her, but if I can email Kathy, you, because we can't email the whole group, that's.
That's one thing that we should discuss. You can't reply all, because then that makes it a meeting.
Okay.
And under 91A, that is
Right.
not allowed.
So But
People can email you and I because we're co-chairs.
So can I email it out to everybody, the status, as long as they don't reply all? Like if
No, you have to do it in a meeting.
Okay, all right.
So we just put it on the
Because we're not
agenda.
gonna meet for 2 weeks, but anyway, I think what I can do, Kathy, is that if it turns out that it's gonna be a no-go, I'm hoping it won't be, I'll just keep you up to date, I guess, maybe you and Renee.
Yeah, I mean, Renee
As the secretary.
had a kind of like play on it that you guys saw last time. You kind of
Powder House?
threw something at it, and if we find that they don't do anything, maybe we can then kind of brainstorm that.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm hoping they will. I mean, they want to be involved. They want to get the kids involved.
Yep.
They're just, they're juggling a lot.
Right.
That's what they do.
Right, well, because they're really coming down to it.
Yeah. But so the goal is, though, it's not, they'll break for the summer. So if we have it before they break for the summer, we're fine, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because we're really, what's the first event that we're doing? And what's the date of that, please?
June 27th.
All right, so Yeah, as long as we could, and what we're gonna be handing out will be pretty much internally printed initially, just the flyers, right? So it's not like we gotta get it to a printer or any of that kind of stuff. Okay. Does that seem
Well, I
reasonable?
don't know if we can print those internally. Can we do that?
Well, you
you
know
know,
what I
something-
mean, no, I guess what I mean,
Not
Kathy, is we're
professional.
not, I'm sorry?
Not professionally printed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you could go to like
Staples
copy or whatever.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly, that's,
I don't know who
yeah,
they use.
what I meant was like not having anyone's,
Okay.
set it up or whatever.
Fran, you had something?
Yeah, I think that potentially we should coach or educate the school on our thoughts about what we want to have done, or the theme. Like, I think my thoughts are that I think the town would accept and participate and be motivated if it was an Exeter-centric event. We won't say we're celebrating the U.S. Constitution. It would be, Exeter celebrating our 250th. I think in these times that
So, because this is an example, right?
yes, I liked how they
Okay.
it was Lexington.
The Lexingtons.
Okay, do you have that?
Well, I think you.
I have, I can pull it up. So could you just email me the link or whatever?
Yes.
You're talking about that right there.
This would be an example. Okay.
So what I did do is I gave them the link to our website, right? I mean, I gave them the link to our mission so they have that background. And I also gave them the 250th, even though it's already embedded on our on our webpage, but I gave them the link to the 250th so that they could see that logo, because I said we will also be incorporating that. But Lexington didn't incorporate the national one, did they?
Because this is just
its
one
own-
piece.
It was
It's just one
own,
piece.
Yeah.
Standalone, because it was this year.
Oh, I see, it was
Right,
Lexington.
yes,
I'm
yes.
sorry, I apologize. Okay.
No, that's okay.
So could I just see that for a second,
Yes.
Fran? I
Okay,
think
so you
I just
have
like
that
how it was
anyways.
presented
Yeah.
to the town.
Yep,
Yes.
and I like their calendar.
That's nice.
Collecting stickers.
I like it.
And are we gonna want a QR code on anything that takes, or just the website?
Yeah, it should be a QR code to the website. I mean, it's
Okay.
pretty simple to do.
Okay. So-
I mean, we could do something like that with like the Powder House right there, because that's or do we have any paintings at the American Revolution, at the,
Museum,
yeah,
maybe.
that have like the Powder House in them?
Oh, no, it might have like a copy of our broadside.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a picture to me.
No, I guess what I'm saying is like you could use the broadside as kind of a backdrop, right? Like, and then have a logo on top of that. I mean, the broadside could be kind of cool.
Yeah.
What do you think of that, Barbara?
Well, it's not unique to Exeter. I mean, we're happy to have a copy of it.
We have our copy.
We do.
But the Powder House is a
Powder House.
revolution.
Powder House,
But
It's
it's
a,
also before,
Townwide.
maybe we should get Bill Childs to do a painting of the Powder House.
We can just take a photograph of it.
Yeah,
Actually,
and then
why don't, can you also send me your logo? I just want to have it digitally so that I can give that to them as an example of things we've been playing with.
Okay, and I can do that in an afternoon. That's not a problem, to send it out to have kids, a sheet like that. 2 seconds.
What do you mean?
Take me
For the
2 seconds to
calendar?
do that. With the logo, with all this, it's just a Canva template kind
Well,
of
they'll
thing.
do it though.
Yeah, but they're slow. We need to execute. That is just my opinion.
Well, I don't think we really, I mean, we're not handing anything out until the first event, right?
which isn't that far away.
Which is like
I
a
think
month
Right, but-
Renee is.
No, I understand, but they're gonna be done with school by then anyway, so they're either gonna jump on board and get it done or they're not, and I'll know pretty quickly.
Okay.
So you're talking about the logo, you're talking about actually getting a calendar out.
I'm talking about both, any and all.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked last time about getting like an initial handout that just
Yeah.
is letting people know this is coming.
Right.
Even if we don't even have events specifically on there, that we get it. The Historical Society's already done a little thing with the Powder House, so we're using the Powder House So
Your email.
it seems like it would be a good,
So to use the
Do
powder
you
house.
have one, to have like something?
it's not a
that-
logo, it's just a sticker that we made for
Oh, okay.
membership. I should have brought a few with me, but, so that's what we're kind of going with. Another thing, if you wanted to use documents, we could track it down, that document where, New Hampshire sort of declares independence. It's called the New Hampshire Constitution. That's what they're calling it up at Concord. I don't know where the original to that is. I'm sure it's up to the state. I've only seen it transcribed into print. But that would be kind of unique. It might take us some time to track it down, though.
But I think if you have, you've got copy down here, a picture makes you
Yeah.
go to the copy,
Right,
and you really
right.
want them to read the
Right.
copy. You don't want them to read the print.
Right.
Too much print will,
Okay.
I mean, I
was
don't
just
know.
thinking if we
So
had.
can I have this, Fran?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right,
And
and
it was
where's,
handed out at the
I
last
have
meeting.
yours.
so that
I
can
sent
make
it,
a
this is my
photo
copy. It was on email.
Okay.
It was, you sent it in the packet or something, I think I remember.
it was, I think it did come, go out to people.
It's not color.
No, it's fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give both of the, and we wanna go with the powder house theme.
I think the Powder House is
Okay.
less unique in the Revolution, which,
I would agree.
I mean, I like this, but I think it might be too cutesy. I
Right.
think a little bit,
So can we
no
give them
offense.
another week?
But
to see if
I
they
think,
can come up?
it was a start for you, and I like that.
All right,
So
so
it gives that.
it will give them an idea of what we're looking at, that, right, and how we're gonna be using it initially. I think we like the idea of something kind of, what I'm
Yeah, just
thinking
use
is like,
yours.
this is the Minutemen, but this is, maybe that's the powder house, and having that document you were talking about, New Hampshire's as kind of like the screen, the backdrop, you know what I mean?
So what I'm thinking is they strictly do the logo, and then this committee does all the other printing things, all this and that and whatever.
Yes,
So
yes, I'm
they-
talking about this though. I'm talking about,
A header?
yes.
Like
I think-
the background, the blur.
Exactly.
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
back, yeah.
I think just the Powder House, keep it simple. Maybe, I don't know what we have, but I personally think that
So can
too
I,
much.
my guess is this is what you're saying. It's like this is in the background and then the powder house is here.
Thank you.
So, which is, you want something other than want space behind the, behind the
It can
powder
be
house.
just it can just be type.
The broadside, the powder house first and then broadside.
I was thinking that.
Broadside under and kind of.
Well,
Sorry.
I was looking at that going, the Powder House, you could also have revolutionary figures if we have something like that. I don't know what
So,
we have.
so I think what Karen's saying is like, see where we have the revolutionary folks, that would be faded back to the broadside, and then you would use the actual logo here, and then the words on it, because you.
Well, why don't
you
we
want
try
more than
both
that.
and then we'll decide how.
All right.
All right, so how do I get it? Do you have anything like that, like that has,
Well, Renee knows how to manipulate.
Anything like what?
I don't know.
I have a note on here that says, send photos of the Powder House to Kristen Grollo, and I'll
Well, no,
link her.
you send them to me.
Okay.
Because yeah, she hasn't, and then I wonder if AIM has.
I'll link to the, we did a history minute on the Powder House, so we used a lot of photos in that too.
Great,
I'll send that link to you.
yeah,
Okay.
I think what Barbara did say was that no fighting occurred here.
Yeah, don't show anybody shooting.
So I don't know.
and then I guess what I'm looking for is a photo of the broadside that we can use as the,
Okay, you're gonna have to provide that.
all right.
Independence.
And so I'll see if I can get my hands on that through Joe. Okay, thank you, that's where I'm at.
I think the powerhouse are really talking up the fact we were the revolutionary count, so there wasn't fighting, but they were like huge.
We're like the people with the
Well, there were
clipboards.
soldiers.
Yeah.
We're like,
I mean,
let's get all the work done.
And there were soldiers here. I mean,
Right,
that's the thing. There were people in uniform.
Yes.
Right.
So, I mean, I
Yeah, they
feel
Courageous
like.
things were happening, just
Yeah.
no shots were being fired.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, shall we put that to bed and go on to the budget?
Yes.
Okay. I did try. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Picture's worth a thousand words.
Thank you.
Here, I can give this back to you because I actually have one.
So Renee and I just put together what I would call a starter budget, just initial brochures, banners, stickers, etc. And the numbers here are based on, the numbers per item are based on the sizes indicated here. So we haven't determined what size we want, so of course that can be changed. And more accurate numbers can be made, but, so I looked at Vistaprint and for imprint for cost estimates. And then also I came to know that Top Copy was used by a lot of commissions. And so as you can see here that we looked at rack cards, trifold brochures, a table runner, a large banner, a small banner. We did look at stickers. There was, I don't have an example here, oh well. But this would be some kind of swag. It's a handheld fan that would, it's just a square on a stick that could advertise the 250th. And it does look like Vistaprint has the much better prices. However, looking at Top Copy imprint, it would be good to go there first to see what they can do for us in terms of the prices. And they don't do banners, but they do flyers, stickers, things like that.
Plus, if something goes wrong, you know them.
Yeah, which is good.
We use Minuteman Press, they're excellent as well.
Okay, I didn't look into them.
They do the whole UFO festival
Okay,
with the Kiwanis Club as well.
Yeah, we use them a lot for our
okay, so that would be before an actual purchase to look into them, and I didn't know that.
And Renee Renee got a great banner for not a lot of money.
Vistaprint,
It was very nice.
4x6
Yeah,
canvas, like coated.
yeah.
Usually use those at the church.
For $67 or something, was it?
And you can always get, if you look for a promo code, they're always out there.
Yeah.
Vistaprint's pretty good.
They're great, yeah.
They just did pins for Heidi's organization that look fantastic.
Yeah, their quality is good.
Yeah.
So this is well within $1,000 to start out.
So we just have to, does anybody, so we're just checking with Top Copy and Minuteman Press if you have the time to do that.
And with the local printing, we can do like initial pieces and then change it up for the future. We can always use the local people to do the permanent flyers too.
Yeah, we can't really know what we're doing until we've got,
Hey, Julie.
Yeah.
Any ladies?
So of course going
So you
forward.
only had a meeting till what, 10 o'clock last night?
A little bit.
You should have just slept over, that's all. Huh? You should have just slept over.
So,
Yeah.
anyway, so
We
going
Budget.
forward.
We're talking about the budget.
So this is a basic budget. It would encompass, just a fraction, a portion of the initial $5,000. In terms of going forward, we need to look at what we think could be appropriated through the town, as well as sponsorships, as well as, depending on if it's a more expensive event, tickets, like a chicken dinner. We'd have to incorporate that into a budget. And what I would suggest is, in terms of sponsorships, I think it would be very, very important to look at who is in the town is sponsoring somebody currently. So we don't go to them and disrupt the current sponsorship of the local entity. And we just look to get sponsors for this event that won't interrupt sponsorship of other events.
Other 250 events, you mean?
I don't,
Is that what you mean, or other events?
Oh, well, okay, parks, they get sponsorships in the community from there.
But that's, the truth is everybody's hitting up everybody. It's really hard, I I mean, I learned, like, I don't even go downtown anymore if I'm doing something, because they're hit up every which way from Sunday.
Yeah, the difference is though, this one's a one-time thing, so.
Exactly.
People say wanna.
You know, L.A. Berkowitz, Nancy, they're still gonna support National Night Out,
Right.
but they would be slighted
Oh,
if
yes.
they didn't
But
get
and that's
asked to
the
support
word I
this.
was
It's
So
just
do we
a
want
one-time
to
thing.
brainstorm
That's a
a
great
few
point.
people
So
to
there's-
sponsor? I mean, I think that's really important, and maybe if we talk about some names or businesses that we might want, and then maybe we can each try to.
I almost think that we should do a separate subcommittee for fundraising so that
Yes.
we're not sitting here talking names.
I don't disagree, but everyone, I mean, my only concern with that is then we're limiting ideas coming to the table.
Well, I mean, I get that.
We could pass around a piece of paper and just have people write.
Yeah, I don't care
Yeah,
how
I
we
mean,
do it.
or
but-
just, you know, if
At
you know
another
the
meeting.
subcommittee's working, send them an email, just them, to your ideas. And I know that might be, I mean, I feel like I don't really want, I don't know, I feel like, I don't know how appropriate that discussion is. And
If we were in a different location that was not streamed, would that be better?
well, I think a subcommittee, that's the thing, you can't not stream the meeting.
Right.
So I think a subcommittee could come and say, okay, here's what we brainstormed, I guess that, and then we could, I don't know, I don't know if it's a good idea to have a large committee talk about it or have a subcommittee first talk about it. I don't know what you think.
Is there a list of perhaps donors to other events like the night out, things like that we could say, we're just gonna approach anyone who gives to this thing, this thing, this thing?
I think we should
Can I just make a comment?
contact anyone.
What I would recommend is we'll have a list, a calendar of activities that we're gonna do. And most of that calendar is based on other organizations like the Historical Society or Parks putting on an event for the 250th. So I think we should prioritize who they have looked for in the past for that event. And they in turn can say, well, this is gonna be for the 250th also. And so, you could get more of a support for that event, or
Well, fundraising is a little different from the budget, right? So we sort of sidestepped.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
are we supposed to review and approve the budget today? Is that what the
this.
agenda item was?
Okay, so this is not based on
start.
actual numbers and actual sizes,
Okay.
so,
I think it was just up for discussion to
Yeah.
see if this works as a
Yeah.
start. We have $5,000, this is
Yeah.
about 1,000, you said?
yeah.
So, then we could just, as we go, think about
Are
how,
there other things we think we need to add to the list?
That's a great,
yeah, that's the question.
and this would be
Well,
just a start.
these are for the side pieces that we want to distribute before 2026. And we have to discuss the budget for what we're doing in 2026.
And that would be parade and lunch.
Or the barbecue, you mean,
Yeah,
or whatever you wanna call it.
That's in 26.
yeah.
We have to, because I have to know how much to budget for next year's.
Yeah, well, that before August.
Yeah.
We'll give that to you.
My other
Yeah, but
question- But we
it's
should-
it's really now that you're starting to talk budget. And is this under the select board?
Yeah.
Is that what that is? Okay.
So we have 5,000 for 2025. So that's kind of our startup, right? So,
And we want some of this before June 27th, right?
yes,
You had the handout.
We have
We
that.
want this
That's the only
handout
thing?
now.
We want
right
this
now we
handout.
need
Item
this
one, is that
handout
item
by
one?
the June
Yeah.
27th.
Well, so we have our concert series starting at the end of June, as well as like the Exeter band starts playing on Mondays. So those are great events that like our staff is at that we can start handing out
So we
materials.
need something,
Yeah.
a handout, like the calendar or at least a framework and language talking about what we're doing by the end of June. And that's what I think, that's what we need
Yeah,
first.
so the first item, the 1/3 quarter page flyer would be that.
Right.
And it would be this size, just,
Yes.
Give it out.
So I think that's the first priority.
and I'm sorry I didn't think.
And I think to your point, I mean, it will evolve. So that's why we're not gonna print 1,000 gazillion of them.
I did send a sample of that,
Sample of what?
the third
Trifold?
sheet, yeah, the third sheet handout. I didn't send it to you, Kathy?
I don't remember.
It's the infographic, that's what I call it.
Okay.
Did you send it to everybody?
No, I just sent it to Kathy so she could send it to everybody.
Can you, when you send, because Kathy and I are co-chairs, could you send that stuff to me too, whenever you're doing that?
Okay, thanks.
I could put together, like a 2-year budget. I mean, for a framework for 2 years.
Well, and I think though, the point is we also, this is like the print material that we need, that we're
Yeah.
talking about, but we also do need to look at the events that
Yeah.
we're gonna need, and,
For 25. And then have a separate page for 26.
26. Well, for 25, we're really not doing that much.
It's
In
mostly
terms
promotion.
of events, it's mostly promotional marketing materials. And then 26 will be the events.
If you look at the calendar, July was gonna be the kickoff, the announcements or whatever from the bandstand, first concert at the bandstand or something, but I don't know if we've changed that. This is from the calendaring from last meeting. The next few things in August, we've got the National Night Out table, which is media, infographics. The American Independence Museum is going to do a couple things. I guess that would just be handouts.
Yeah, I think most of this is just literature at this point.
For us, yeah, but
Correct.
other people are like,
Right, but they'll do their own thing.
like that, yeah. I'm just looking at it.
Yeah, we should just double check.
Poster goes on sale.
So Renee,
This commemorative poster.
you did send it to me a while back, yeah.
You want to just pass it around?
Sure, if you guys,
Can you email it to everybody, Kathy?
Even if you email it to me, I can pull it up on my computer.
here, I'll email it.
That looks good.
I mean, once we get our logo,
exactly.
or rough draft of our logo, pass that on it. It's a temporary thing, but it's a good promotion.
Yeah, it's a discussion piece.
Yeah, it's to get people to know that what's happening.
C. Neal.
Well, so this is another piece I could share with Christine
Exeter at
Rollo as
HDOT.
to what we're thinking about how we're gonna be using this stuff.
Uh-huh.
At .gov, right?
Yes. Can you send it to me too, Kathy?
Well, yeah, yes. I think that's it.
But back to the budget, which I think is really
Did I send
important,
you the
like
right
this is
one?
for 25, right, Julie?
Yeah.
But what are we gonna, if you look at our calendar,
Well, at Christmas, the Festival of Trees, purchase a tree.
right?
That might
So
have
that's
been something
another
in
one,
there.
Festival
Yeah.
of Trees.
And is that 25?
That's
It's
25.
the end of
I sent you the
25,
wrong one.
yeah.
Let me
That's
just-
right.
Wait a minute, let
Okay.
me do it again.
I was like, I don't think it included the attachment.
Yeah, okay.
Is it $100 to purchase a tree?
Yeah,
I don't
It's not
remember.
much, and we still have it
But
within
those-
the 5,000.
And
So this-
decorate with something.
Yeah, so it's $100 to get this, and then we should add in like $100 for decorations. So, budget 200 for that.
Yeah, but I think that's it for 2025.
I mean, that works.
Tricoordinate.
So I could also make
So
up.
we'll say
send it to you again.
250 just to keep it.
Okay.
Did it come?
Sometimes it
But
just.
we'll have to reprint the flyers,
Yeah,
the announcements, once we know the final schedule for 26, probably by October.
Right, so this first one is just very vague.
Yeah.
It
So I
says,
think-
don't
That's
go
okay.
out of town next July 4th.
Right.
And I also, I mean, we're still well within $5,000.
Oh, of course,
So, I
yeah.
mean, we're fine.
Well, we don't spend it, we lose it, so we gotta spend it all.
Oh, is that true?
wonder if
They
they
won't
won't
carry
put it
over to
Oh,
it?
you know what?
Oh, for crying out loud.
Renee, did you do that?
She's so
I didn't see
talented.
it. It was
Well,
great.
we'll
It was
carry
so
over.
talented.
2026, yeah.
Correct, okay.
2026.
So what we don't
Sorry, I
spend
didn't
at
hear that.
25 carries to
Oh, I should
26.
put that up
Is
there.
that what you're saying?
I
Okay.
didn't have- So wait, I just want to do that. We don't spend all $5,000. it
We
will
could
go
also
into
have
the
a gingerbread
we'll carry it forward to 2026.
Gingerbread.
Oh, that's
But
cute.
does that mean that we can also ask for more money for 2026? So it's like, so this, what we're asking then, is this an, exactly, okay. And do you, Board of Selectmen member, do you think we have the possibility of getting more than 5,000 for next year?
Depends on what we decide to do and when we decide to.
And you
kinda have to
right,
show-
and so, but you need to know then, in terms of budgeting,
By
we're gonna put a
August.
request in for
Well, she's
2026.
saying before August.
We need to be able to tell you what we would like to have. In other words, so we
So
do
we'll work
need,
it up, we'll start working it up.
It
Right.
doesn't have to be before August, unless they involve
So
like
for-
Could you go upstairs and make it?
so for by August, you need
Yes,
to
but
know
I can
what
put
our
on here.
2026 budget request
by
is.
the end of August.
All right, does that make sense?
End of August.
Sure. All right,
So-
I needed to write that down and I was distracted. So by August,
By the
End of August.
End of August.
okay,
We
August.
need to know what our 2026 budget request is from the Board of Selectmen. And right now, the only items that includes is the parade and the barbecue.
Are we gonna have fireworks, or are we waiting for the Independence Museum to do fireworks 2 weeks later?
I had envisioned that we do them at the end of the year to bang them.
Oh, right, in January.
Right, or
Excuse me, it's
December.
December 31st,
Yeah.
So there would be two.
2026. Gotcha.
Can they do it that time of year? Yeah. You're okay? Okay, I didn't
Yeah,
know.
they do it
if
for
that
New
was
Year's
reserved.
Eve,
Okay.
all over.
Oh, I didn't know. I'm from down
Here's a
south.
question
Weather
for
here
you,
is still.
Caroline.
Yeah.
Because Park and Rec is not doing an insignificant amount,
Exeter,
even though we're reframing this,
Yes.
are you gonna need extra funds?
That was my question, is are we fully funding this out of our existing budget?
Right, so I
Because
think-
we'll have to make adjustments in
Right.
ours? Or are we getting additional funds from this committee to support and enhance?
So is
I
it
think
possible,
the things that we're doing,
our committee?
our committee is going to sponsor, would be a separate budget from Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec would be the organizer.
Right,
So it will come under a different line item. It would be our line item.
so if they need more money for something,
We have to raise it.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Sorry to interrupt your meeting. I've been watching you on TV. I've been sending,
Really?
I've been attempting to send this commission an email with logos and posters for a long time. I would like to show it to you right now, because I'm watching you, apparently you're up against a potential deadline. I was offered this to the board for free of charge. I'm not looking for anything. And if you want to take a moment for me to show it to you,
Sure. Can we finish this first?
Sure,
And then, we do have a section on public comment. We can do that.
Yeah, there's a
There's a
chair
chair
right
back
behind the door,
there.
pull it up.
Join us.
Julie, I just
We
wanna
are
be
open to
clear,
your
so like, if, let's say Park and Rec is the organizer, but it's doing it focused on the 250, because what we've talked about, and Caroline and I met last night, because it's, what I think we all envision is that there's so many existing events that happen already. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel, right? What we're really doing is taking like everything that we do, because gosh knows this town does a lot, but kind of rebranding it just around the 250th, right? So if they need more money to do something around, they have to raise it, or can we
Donate part of ours.
or can, I guess what I'm thinking is that could they to Park and Rec put together a budget to say, this is what it's gonna cost for us to enhance the 250th, and then we can put it in here as part of our request to you. Does that make sense?
Yes, so one more time, because I think I missed part of that.
So the thinking is if some event that you're doing, right, to kick it off, it usually costs you $1,000.
Right.
Let's say because you want to rebrand and enhance, and we're doing some extra things, right? It's gonna now cost you $1,500.
Okay.
So you would give us a budget to say,
Okay.
in order to deliver this for the 250th, it's gonna cost this much more.
Right,
And then we
right,
can
right.
incorporate it into our budget. Because Park and Rec is doing a lot for the 250th. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It all makes sense, yes.
Is the drone show off the table? That's the question.
I would love it not to be off the table. I mean,
I'll
wouldn't
throw it in there. If
I
we
think
can
it would
fundraise
be
for it,
great
it's
to
great.
find a sponsor for that.
Yeah.
And, you know, Kathy, I don't disagree with you that we need a subcommittee, but all the fundraising I've done, what happens is that a subcommittee goes off, and the fact that it's recorded is hard. But a subcommittee goes off and it's 3 people sitting trying to figure this stuff out. And relationship is everything when you're doing fundraising. And so I think us being able, in some way, to be able to talk about it,
There's some confidentiality.
yeah.
Well, that's why I think a subcommittee starts and then you come together and you present. Because then you
And
can
you can say you have
have your
commitments.
brainstorm.
Yeah,
And-
and say you have commitment, when you come back to the whole group, you can say you have commitments or, reaching out. to
Or,
staff.
yeah, here's who we've reached out to, do you have other suggestions? I don't know
if you even need to say that, just that we have commitments from sponsors when you come to the whole committee.
but she's saying she wants us to brainstorm.
we all
and
need to
I didn't think that was
brainstorm.
in a public
Thank you.
setting, I didn't feel like that was appropriate.
Yeah, but
So-
that's exactly what Emily says. We need to look at prospects. I feel like
Yeah.
2 or 3 people are doing it in a vacuum, and bouncing ideas off of each other just is really, really helpful.
Right. I just,
As a town committee, are we allowed to solicit donations?
Yeah.
There's a real, I don't know. Okay, that's good.
Friends of whatever.
Yeah.
Several of them.
Does
Well,
the
and
subcommittee
the other-
have to be just 2 or 3 people, or can it be pretty much everyone at this
No.
table? No.
if you're in a quorum, you have a quorum, how many are we? If it constitutes a quorum, it's a meeting.
Okay.
It's a public meeting.
So we just have to make sure that we don't have too
That's
many
right,
official
3
members here.
or-
Well, and the
How
other
many-
thing
how
that's
many are
important is
we?
knowing who has,
Yeah.
like you brought up, the people you just brought up, right? Like, do you have relationship with them? I know them too, but my relationship, I am certain is not as deep as yours, or, so I think that is really important as we do our prospecting.
And I don't, I get that, but I think, I don't know, I'm just, how many people are in this?
It's
Quorum. Is
6
it
plus Fran, so 7.
And
don't
she's
count.
voting, right?
I'm not
She's
voting,
voting.
too. I don't
So it's
Right.
3 or under for a sub?
Three could meet, 4 could not, is what I'm saying. So,
So we need volunteers.
I'm happy to help with this. I'm a non-voting member.
right.
Which would help.
But is that conflict of interest for you?
I don't think so, because I think it's
It's a separate thing.
it's
Yes.
a separate thing, and I know a lot of our sponsors will also want to sponsor something like this.
Yes.
And we don't see that as like competing interests.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm happy
is
to
there
help
a
with that.
subcommittee for, do we want to make you still, as a subcommittee, you still have to do this in the public building, you have to notice it, and you have to have a short, you have to have an agenda, and you have to have meeting minutes that are, we met type thing, we talked about this.
okay.
You don't have to have specifics. But does anybody want to do that?
I can't because I am fundraising actively for AIM. So that is conflict for me. I can't do it both ways.
So you can't fundraise for this committee?
I don't feel comfortable doing that because I'm fundraising specifically for AIM right now.
Okay,
I'm on their development, I'm their development team.
okay.
I'm happy to lend information, on potential people, but I don't feel
Well,
comfortable doing
I
that.
actually think that the fundraising committee is coming up with a plan, not specifically going out and fundraising, because you may come back and say, hey, I know you're affiliated, you know these people, so could you go and ask them? So I think it's more of a strategy than it is a going out. Does that make sense to everybody?
Prospecting.
Because you might say, well, Kathy knows so-and-so, she should really, Jonathan knows everyone in town. So you go, okay, maybe we need Jonathan just to ask politely, so that is my thought. So it's more of a strategizing. So Karen, you have that expertise, so I don't know if that's, you'll have to ask Amy if that's okay with them.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know if anybody else is.
I don't need to talk to them about it, it's really me, but
That's their decision.
Right,
I need to think about it.
okay, all right.
I'm glad to, with the exception, I can't really approach anyone from my church because it's a conflict, but,
Oh, yeah, sure.
but I'm glad to help strategize.
Well, that's really what it is. Then
Yeah.
everybody's comfortable and,
Okay.
you know, I don't know if anybody else wants to do it.
Well, Caroline said she would.
Yeah, but she's not a committee member, so I want, yes, please.
Subcommittees can invite people who are not.
Oh, no, I didn't mean, I'm not saying she couldn't do it, I'm just saying.
So she can be on the subject.
She can be, there can be 4 people if she's on it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
It'll be 2
we
of,
can do
3 of
4.
us and her.
Oh, okay.
So, because she's not part of the quorum. So,
Most committees I join, I take 5 meetings to learn the system, and this system is just too onerous for me to even consider being on a subcommittee, having to print an agenda, publish an
I
agenda,
agree.
keep minutes, be in a public room with a TV or however it works.
Yeah,
So
I don't know, a
so-
subcommittee
so
doesn't have to be
I'm
on
not
a.
ready to sign up for that
Okay,
yet.
Right,
a
but-
subcommittee
I'm
doesn't
saying.
have
It's
to be on a, subcommittees do not have to be on TV.
No, but it's still gotta have the agenda, whatever.
Your
anyway.
agenda is like, meeting to discuss fundraising, that's your agenda. You know, your meeting minutes are so-and-so was here, so-and-so was here, so-and-so was here, we discuss fundraising.
Yeah, it'd be a lot nicer if we could just do the whole committee instead of having a subcommittee.
So I would be happy to do a
But
structure
we're
of
still
budget.
talking about the budget, not.
And the numbers,
Right.
Right.
But fundraising, we have to start thinking about pretty quickly.
The budget's the first thing. We need to,
We're still on
I
budget
don't
on the
know.
agenda.
Yeah.
Does anyone know, like, in the budget, so we pretty much have this is a great format and a beginning, right? But we have $4,000 more, and we also have kind of a feeling of what the calendar is. So where is that money that we're gonna, in the events that we're sponsoring, and it's really mostly that week, right? If we get down to it, you know, how much does a parade cost? Do we know? No. Well, okay, so we asked
Well,
them.
we budget 4,000, I believe, for the Christmas parade.
Yeah, but it costs more than that. So I can ask. I can call
Somebody
Beth.
was going to ask Beth and tell us.
I actually have. Yeah, I was saving that for updates.
Okay.
But I didn't ask her about money. So, but I can certainly go in and sit with her and ask more specific, because she would know. We could also ask Florence, because she does that. She does the Memorial Day parade, and I think it's almost, you know, which parade do you think most likely is? Like, is it more of the size of the holiday parade, or is it more the size of the Memorial Day parade? Because they're 2 different animals, so to speak, because one is much smaller than the other, correct?
And one's floats and one's.
Right. So do we see this as a float parade, or do we see it as a rah-rah, we're hanging, you know, flags and Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts?
I'd love to see it as a float parade, but.
I would love to see a float parade too.
Okay,
well, but then
We wind up
is
doing
the
too
parade
much.
in, what month is the parade?
July.
July.
Oh, yeah.
So that means we need to know the budget of what the holiday parade brings. Okay.
And that's 2006.
Okay. So that's one of our budget items, and I'll get that for you.
And I'm also looking at,
Plug that in.
you've got fireworks, right? Or I think we should get pricing for a drone show. I think that would be great.
Fireworks
Somebody-
or drone show?
What were you saying?
Both or one?
Let's get pricing for
Both.
both and then compare.
Okay.
So somebody showed me a drone thing, it was $10,000 or $15,000. It was called Northern Lights Drone Show, or Northern Lights Air, Northern Lights anyway.
I can find out what Portsmouth's cost.
They had a drone show or fireworks?
They did a drone show. It was
Okay.
amazing.
Okay. So 10 to 15,000 probably. All right.
Probably, the quotes that we got in the past were around $30,000. So I'm
The
expecting it to
Northern Lights
be
was smaller.
smaller. So I'm expecting I'll get many quotes. when I look
Okay,
into it.
great, all right,
Yeah.
so
Well,
this
I'm
is
happy
where,
to
this
do
is
that.
great.
Do you want to, can you reach out to Portsmouth, because that drone show was unbelievable.
One of their assistant directors sits on our rec advisory board.
Okay, so then those two and then the barbecue is the next one. And who was it? Karen, were you the one that called me and said that chicken barbecue can have a lot of downfalls, or was it Renee?
Renee, I talked to, my cousin is former lunch lady from Newmarket.
Yes.
And she recommended against it, just because of the logistics of keeping the chicken cold and who's gonna cook it and, the side dishes and things that we don't, as a crew, necessarily have the experience with. We would need an industrial sized kitchen to keep this stuff. But she did recommend a food truck rally.
I love that,
And so I'm checking with economic development director because there's a coalition or some group that one fellow can get in touch with all the trucks. So I just needed to know if it was noon or evening, like before the movie. We were doing a movie that night.
So I thought that was right after the parade that we were thinking this.
Okay.
So if you did the parade, so.
So on the back here, according to the notes, the parade started at 11. I'll cross out chicken barbecue, but the lunch trolley would start at 1 p.m. I mean, it could start at noon. But noon to 1.
And it's actually July 4 or what? I don't know.
It's on the back
I
of
lost
your.
my schedule.
Oh,
I gave it away to
okay.
a more important person.
Isn't there
Do
another?
you want to take a photo
No.
of it with your phone?
No, I don't.
Somewhere.
If we wanted food trucks,
I'll
we
just
should
reprint it.
absolutely lock them in now because
That's what, that was one of my
On
questions.
July
Like,
4th.
we need to get
Because I'm
some.
just saying the food
I
vendors
wonder
are
if
gonna
we can
have
just go to the
thousands of
Strata,
requests
just
for
have
July
Right, so
4th.
that's why we're trying to
log on to their
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
Does anybody know?
Well, that's
Stratum.
from this fellow that Darren knows comes in and
Well, the chamber just did the thing.
Oh, did the chamber do
May
it?
10th. At Stratum,
Chamber did
at
that.
Stratum Fair Grounds, whatever it's called.
Well, what we could also do is something more lower scale. We could have all you can eat Sundays. We have Memories ice cream and
something a little more.
Yeah, I'm not loving the idea of food trucks. I don't know why.
either.
Thanks. I mean, it's not, I don't know. I mean, I love food trucks,
Sure.
but I don't love them for this. It
Yeah.
doesn't seem like it's building communities somehow.
I remember the fire department like 10 years ago did a chicken.
did a chicken dinner.
Yeah. And
Awesome.
So I'll tell you exactly what she said. She sits on the state board for hot lunches. She was the director of the New Market lunch system for her entire career. She said, if you get 300 pieces of chicken, you have to store them somewhere at the correct temperature. And then you have to take them out and have them in a certified kitchen thawing until the correct temperature. And then you have to put them in coolers and bring them somewhere and ensure they're still at the correct temperature. And then if there's a fire and all the firemen have to leave, who's cooking them? She said it was a very dangerous thing in the past to do these chicken dinners because it was all loosey-goosey. So that's why she suggested not that.
Well, we
We're
have
not
the
in
kitchen.
Kansas anymore, is what
We
you're
have
saying.
the
It's
kitchen
just,
at the old high
it's not
school.
as
That's a
easy.
huge industrial kitchen, and that's not a far leap to there, to the park.
I don't know.
the SST.
Yeah.
Western New York, like every fire department in the summer does a chicken barbecue, and it's like a. So I don't know. I mean,
I don't know.
I just like chicken barbecue.
I do too. And I think there's enough industrial, I mean,
Well,
you
what
got,
about hot dogs and hamburgers? It's not the same deal.
But
I mean,
it's
you have to
the same.
pay somebody to be there that understands how to cook the chicken, how to unfreeze the chicken, how to test it, how to pack it up
chicken
into a cooler.
is tricky.
Chicken is salmonella.
Yeah.
So hot dogs and hamburgers.
Could we ask the fire department, say, how'd you do it last time? Is it
yeah, I
possible?
mean,
It's been years since Harry's there.
Oh, was it a
there,
Harry?
God bless him.
Yeah.
God
We
bless
got
her.
11 minutes, I mean, I don't know.
And we still would like to hear from Joe, so.
Yeah.
It's worth
And
looking into a
can you put
caterer.
that back up on the?
Brilliant idea.
Catering's an awesome idea.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Caroline.
Yeah.
Could you put the, thing
I
back
don't
up on
want
the
that
screen?
choice.
Now, if we're gonna do a caterer, then we're now at, another $30,000,
But so,
just
Right,
so
if
you
it's
know.
a ticketed event,
it's a
we can work it into the budget so
Right.
that
Yeah.
the price
Yeah,
of the ticket
thank
covers
you.
the cost of the.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let us know.
Yeah.
It's just so
I'm
kind
happy
of
to
all American.
I know. And you know what we can do for dessert? We can have a pie, like an apple pie. People can bring apple
Right,
that would
pies.
be a good,
Apple
like,
pie
strawberry
concept.
shortcake.
Yeah,
All right,
strawberry
so
shortcake.
Oh,
we're
that's
gonna
a
move
good one,
on
too.
from the
Yeah.
budget,
Do
and
a
we're
good
gonna go, is there a quick, anybody, update, I have an update on the parade theme. And she said she just wanted to have a little bit more information from us of what we kind of, and I don't know what kind of information we're kind of, I guess I should give her the statement or the, what we are, who we are, and what we're trying to accomplish. And I think that what we're trying to accomplish with the parade is to get people to, this year, understand that this is coming up, and I think that's more. And so I've only had an email from her, but I'm gonna.
I'm sorry?
Whoever has the email site for the Exeter Parade, Holiday Parade, I emailed, thinking it was Beth, but it wasn't, it was a Michelle somebody, so she didn't even leave her last name. So I will call and get an appointment with them. So anybody else have a quick update?
I do.
Yes.
I attended the American Revolution Summit up at New Hampshire Historical Society on May 7th. And I just want to read over the themes that the state has, not really the state, it's not a state entity, but here are the themes that they are talking about. Think of New Hampshire on the eve of the revolution. What were we like before the revolution began? What were the conditions that led to it? Consider the revolution as a local event. Address local stories, they said. How have the revolutionary ideas carried forward? This was addressed more toward towns that, for instance, didn't exist before the American Revolution. They were like, so what kinds of things carried over? What were some of the ideas of the revolution that they carried forward into creating their towns, creating their incorporation and such? And think of the past as present. In other words, what parts of our intellectual and physical landscape are still related to the American Revolution? So those are some of the themes they would like us to think about. They have a lot of things going on. Our calendar, once we get it finalized, we can submit it to the state archives, and they're going to put it on the state calendar of events for the revolution. So if people are looking for something to do that weekend. So that was hopeful, because I was thinking that the state wasn't doing anything.
No, they were doing a calendar.
Yeah, they were doing the calendar. But that was the type of things they were looking for. So those things are things I think we need to think about once we start talking about events. They also said, don't do the same things that you did at the bicentennial. Very discouraging, because I think you've been maintaining that. But they said, you don't need another town quilt. You probably don't need another quilt. Things like that. They were like, come up with something new, and meet people where they are today. So all of that was interesting.
Sounds like the
One of the
powerhouse.
things that we can, I don't know if people saw it, but Exeter Fine Crafts did the 6x6 fundraiser with all the local artists. There was 100 local artists. I went in there, I actually talked to the manager, and she said, oh, we do this every 2 years. And I said, oh, that's a bummer. I said, about the 250th. She goes, I love that. She goes, let's get local artists to do the same thing. We'll put them down at Folsom Tavern, and it'll be a collaboration between the Folsom AIM and Exeter Fine Crafts. And
All those are good ideas.
I think that would be, in terms of what does America mean to me, or whatever.
Yeah, Exeter's in a weird place because we can do both local stories of the American Revolution, but we have statewide. I mean, we were the capital,
Right.
So we have to really crank out the content in terms of what did it mean to the state.
Can I ask for an update on my thing here?
Love it.
Because we need to put this out like 1 month from now.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's
So we
very
could
vague.
use it as a
We could
guide.
throw that logo, whatever,
Whatever our new logo is
on the
going
front.
to be. Yep.
And this would be, save the date now for July 4th, because we're gonna have something, who knows. And the week before that, there'll be lots of things that are gonna happen, whatever we're gonna make up. The year before that is the theme of all things going on in town. These are our participating partners, and then all of our info here. all of these graphics can change, but this is just very vague, asking people to save the date for a year out.
I love that.
Yeah, that looks great.
We
So-
people's the Constitution, not the Declaration, but that's okay. We can pull a phrase out of the deck and put it on there.
Maybe we should have a
Whatever.
subcommittee that just goes over the fine print.
So I think
Because
we all look
can't
at
all-
it.
We can't all do this. It's very difficult to have all these people and work on
Right.
this.
Okay,
So-
can Renee and I be like a subcommittee on this?
Yeah,
go for
that's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fine.
Can I make a suggestion?
There's two
I
of us.
would take America out and make it more Exeter.
It's America 250, Exeter is
America
300
250,
and whatever.
It really should be United States.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
Exeter
so that-
celebrates. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
so I need this to give to Kristen though. So someone needs to get.
I sent it to you
She sent
already.
it
Oh, you
to you.
did, perfect.
All right, and can we have the gentleman?
Yes,
back?
yes,
Deputy
I was just on my agenda here is public comment, and if you
Okay,
could
good.
introduce yourself and, so we know who you are, because some of us do it, some of us don't.
My name is Joe Stagg.
Could you stand up, Joe? Joe, could you stand up? I can't even see you there.
I mean,
All right, thanks.
if there's balancing act going here,
And could you say
Is there a
your,
way?
Joe,
Do you want to email me whatever you have and I
I've
can fill
emailed
it
it,
out?
I've emailed multiple times this committee, and it's just not getting through, obviously. So this is, I'll try to hold this is on
any?
camera. So I have multiple different potential logos for you, and I used as I discussed, a Celebrate Exeter 2026. That's the wrong one. So that's you wanted something with the powerhouse. And I put in the Exeter 250th Commission. So there's multiple different options, and the color background would depend upon what you may be putting it on, and you can go without the actual, if you wanted a smaller logo. I also attempted to email the committee, and I did email it, it obviously didn't.
Yeah, I believe I got it, so
Oh, okay.
I apologize
Oh, that's okay.
for that.
I just wanted to make sure because you're
We were
coming up
going
to
through a,
Yeah,
trying to.
It's a startup.
We are very new,
Yeah.
shall we say.
sounded like you were going through a time crunch potentially for the logo. So these are just potential examples for maybe you wanted to do swag and posters, so the logo appeared on the bottom lower corner, and depending upon the background of whatever you're trying to put the logo on is why you have different colored logos. I also sent just some rough pictures of just different things you may want to put on, T-shirt, coffee mug, swag stuff,
So that monument is the World War I monument?
Yes.
Okay.
So those are the two symbols that I thought were uniquely Exeter that you might want to use. So all of this stuff is for, give your files for your use, non-use.
And that logo in the corner, that's the official America 250
Yes.
logo. I'm not sure that we can use that without
From what I
copyright.
understand, it is being made available to any community that wants to piggyback that.
Put that
But, and in some of these
As our.
posters, I incorporated
If he's
both
saying that's
the
outdoor.
difficult angle to work at here.
I like the powerhouse though, that's awesome.
Well, I do think that's the most unique. So some of these I incorporated both the Celebrate Exeter theme, and you'll see America 250 also incorporated in there. So I just wanted to make sure, especially if you're, well, that's a whole different project. Especially if you're.
projects.
Yes, I do. Especially if
three of
you're
them
pressed for
the,
time, even if you only use it temporarily, and
Yeah.
I
I
do
love
believe the
that.
one you'd be having a Celebrate America
Yeah, I like that.
option, but I do think what you're looking at is
Yeah.
Celebrate Exeter, because it does bring in the 2026, and it does get in your historic 250 commission, so I just wanted to make sure.
So for a small logo, what we're looking for, we've tried to pull the students into it. We're tasking it off to the SST kids to at least give us a rough one. A lot of your ideas, though, might be good for, you said for swag, so like if we were gonna make a fan, we could incorporate more
Right.
ideas.
And that's exactly what I
well,
did.
unless the kids don't have time, in which
Unless the
case
kids
we
don't
can
have
just
time
use
to
this
play
stuff.
with
something.
I like
Might be
the powder
original.
house better than
I like the
the
powder house.
Gale
I
statue.
like the powder house without the steps.
Oh, right.
What, tell me, because I don't do this
This
for a
is
living, so.
Canva. This
Yeah,
is
so-
a shot I took of the powder house
Yeah,
with my drone.
yeah, I
And
love
I
it.
just eliminated all of the background on it. So the actual photo itself is, I'll just use
I love
this
that.
photo.
Oh, okay,
Just
gotcha.
removed all the background.
So what I would
Yeah.
propose is that we, as Barbara was saying, we so deeply appreciate your efforts here, but what we also are trying to do is bring our students into the story.
Completely
But
understand.
we're on a really short time frame with them, and if maybe we can somehow, if they just say no, then we can work with you to develop it more and how we would like it to be. Does that seem reasonable?
Well, I've already tried to give this commission several times, all of this.
Yeah, I'm
So
sorry.
you've had it, and it
Okay.
just, so it appeared to me, watching it home.
Yeah,
that
thanks for
somehow
coming in.
that
We
didn't-
appreciate
I'm
it.
glad
No, that's
somebody's
great.
watching.
We were just looking at one of those flyers, we did some sort of top.
I get that, you
Yeah.
gotta have stuff to
Something
do.
on those.
Yeah, the background.
That's
Yeah,
what
I think that would be
Joe's
so
idea is
perfect.
On the
something
header.
like that, on the
On the
header
header,
would
the
be
background
amazing.
photo of the header.
Can we send like that to you and you could put together something?
I can certainly
your-
attempt if
with
that's, absolutely,
I
I'd
mean,
be glad to help out
Or
any way I
take a
can.
picture of that and sort of do,
And I work with Bob Glowacki.
okay, okay.
Yes.
So I mean,
You're doing a big project for us
well,
now.
I'm doing a small project, but yes.
To us, it's big.
Well, I'm doing the
So we could
Playground.
send that to you and send our calendar that that Renee put together.
Sure.
That would be a good one to send to him. So I think I probably, and I'm really sorry.
You want to write down
I-
his email?
This is my life.
You got the right
I was gonna
spelling?
send it to her. No, I don't know.
I think I have here somewhere.
Could you give, Renee's our secretary, could you give her your email address?
You want it, right?
Do you want to put it on camera, or do you want to
Yeah,
just
well, I'll
write it
give it to you
down?
I
Yeah,
have a piece of paper.
okay.
I think I might have it.
And the correct spelling of your name.
Pam might have
I'm not gonna-
forwarded
We
you
should have my wallet
stuff
with
to
me.
me.
I do, should have a card.
Oh, you have a card?
Do you know,
Have you had any progress
are you the
with
guy who knows Mark Sullivan?
limited
Sorry?
edition?
Are you the guy who knows Mark Sullivan?
Block printer.
Mark
The
Sullivan.
attorney?
Yeah,
No,
she
you're not.
asked
Different guy,
about,
sorry.
the budget for it. I'd like to pass it over to you, because that's branding and things like that. I'm gonna give you her information.
Sarah's?
Sarah, yeah, thank you.
June 3rd.
Yeah, so that you could coordinate that with all the things, please.
Yeah, it's gonna be June 3rd.
So we're talking about revising this also before June 15th, so we can print it for June 27th?
Yeah, and that would need to have our
If you
logo.
want to attempt that too, you know.
So you
with the
guys,
logo.
the subcommittee can review the text, right? And
Yeah.
then we'll figure
We
about
don't
the
even have
art.
to put a logo on it, we could just put, you know.
I think
you
it's
could just-
nice having a logo.
If we have
Well,
it
if we
in
don't,
time.
Even
if
if
we
it
don't have
changes.
it, even, I'd say we don't, unless we have it. Don't
Yeah.
confuse people.
Invite Joe to
But
Yeah.
it's cool.
There's eagles and you could just pick all
Joe,
this.
maybe you
Blah,
could
blah, blah.
be
You
invited
just
to
slide it over,
the
just drag it over.
What we do in the farms.
If you, like I
If
said,
you wanna
if you
do.
need my assistance, I'd be glad to.
No, hey, the more the merrier.
All right, so you'll send me Sarah Koff's contact information?
Yeah.
Because that's for the limited edition print, like the big poster that we had for the tercentennial or whatever it was, Barbara?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, the one I brought in last time.
all right.
All right,
Okay.
we are over time. Do
Yes,
we
so-
have our next meeting June 3rd?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
I won't be able to be here, I'll be out of town.
Or not June 3rd.
So our meetings in June will be June 3rd and June 17th? Is that correct, Chair?
I am not here the 17th of June.
June 3rd and June
wait.
17th.
Right.
June
Um,
3rd,
I won't be able to make the 17th either.
I am here.
The 17th is the 250th anniversary of Bunker Hill.
Bunker
Just so you
Hill,
know.
yay!
Are you going down?
Not to that one, I'm going to the weekend one.
All right, so I need you to do a history minute on who went to Bunker Hill from Exeter, which is a lot of guys.
Yeah, I'm not here on the 17th.
I found out my great
Okay, but those are our meetings,
But,
so.
well, on the 17th, I can zoom in if, I mean, I can ask.
Okay, yes, if you ask Pam and then she shows me how to do it,
Or
or
write something on there.
I think you just press the button. Caroline is very good at this. She's
Yeah, I
good
can
at
help with that.
Okay, thank
I
you.
also had another question.
Yeah.
We have 3 interns starting. 2 of them are focused on parks and recreation and events. Would it be okay with everyone if I brought them to the
Oh,
meetings
please.
to sit in?
Please.
And they'll also also be the ones at these concerts handing out our materials.
Fabulous.
So I just want to give them an experience.
So
And
the
I thought,
2026 budget also needs to include the branding from the commemorative poster on the cost of that, and also, what about concerts? I mean, band, we're just.
Oh, well, will the regular band be playing that month? It's the brass band.
Brass band, but I'm thinking for the July 4th cookout, there's a concert.
Yes, we've usually done one, so we can, because we have the Thursday concert, and then we always have a concert during the fireworks on whatever.
Right, but that's not.
That's not
the same.
we can schedule one. That's easy to do.
Yeah, and if
But we
you
need
could
to
give
put
us
that
a
into-
budget for how much that
Yes,
costs, because that's not in your
yes.
budget.
Right.
So what would that cost you?
I think one of
That
the
would be
questions
July
I
4th.
have,
Okay.
are we done with the events that we want to schedule?
We'll have to put that on the agenda next time.
Okay, yeah, so for next time
We do events review.
Okay,
And then July 4th,
and again, we'll
25,
do
26.
the logo and budget as well as a lot more information.
Yeah.
Barbara, did you get a copy of this?
I don't know if I have a copy of that, to be honest.
Well, it was emailed with the minutes.
It was emailed with the minutes?
Yep.
And I must have it.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's got we can fill in all the things that you're already doing.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Do you want me to talk to you afterwards?
All right,
Waiting my name.
so I want to adjourn the meeting.
Yes.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How do we show this off?
Thank you for over here.
Thank you
I know
for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Bi-Weekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.